We're talking today about how Coach Lindsay NcCorchuk literally, did I get that right?
Nope.
NcCorchuk. I knew I was going to screw it up. Oh, I knew it. Anyway, how Coach Lindsay, we're just going to say Coach Lindsay.
That's fine. That works.
Coach Lindsay literally crushed it in 6 months, did over $70,000 in gross commission income on LinkedIn. A lot of you guys have been asking for this webinar. Tons of you have mentioned that you wanted to hear how she's doing this. So here it is. This is it live. And I'm telling you, you guys, you've got to learn how she's doing it. She is crushing it on LinkedIn. Now, before we get going, there's something I want to mention. We're going to have a download for you available at the end of the podcast. I'm going to give it to you now as well. If you go to clubwealth.com/LinkedIn, clubwealth.com/LinkedIn, Coach Lindsay has prepared for you a very special download that will help walk you through this process of how she literally got over $70,000 in gross commission income from LinkedIn in just 6 months. In the meantime, I want you to listen very closely, and I want you, before she gets started, to remember our sponsor. We appreciate Wise Hire. If you guys go to clubwealth.com/Wise Hire, they do a ton of stuff for us. We have great success using them, and a lot of our coaches and clients are using Wise Hire as well. It's, again, clubwealth.com/Wise Hire. That said, Coach Lindsay, we're just going to leave it at that. Coach Lindsay.
That's okay.
Talk to us. So first of all, how long have you been doing LinkedIn? I mean, are you like this Uber guru in LinkedIn that's been using it forever and ever and ever? Or did you just kind of figure this out in the last few months and start realizing that, hey, I can make a bunch of money on this?
Right. So I started using LinkedIn actually almost exactly a year ago. And I had a LinkedIn account prior, but never really used it. It was more geared towards my last career that was not real estate related at all. And I had talked to a few people that was having success with that, and thought, I'm just going to try it. And over kind of a trial and error period of trying a few different things, we found something that worked really well. And there's a couple different parts to this. You can't just go on LinkedIn and start getting a bunch of leads. So the company that I had signed up with that helps you to they help you with connections on LinkedIn. So they basically automate the process for you. You could do it on your own, but it's a numbers game, right? So it would have taken me a long time to get where I was and where I am now. So this company, to give you kind of an idea, has added over 8,000 connections to my LinkedIn account. It might be closer to 9,000 now. And personally, I couldn't have done that on my own. So what it does is, and I'll go into more detail, but I want to give you a little bit of background on what this company does. They send out the connections. You can target certain people, certain areas. I did, I think, a 10 or 15 mile radius, and we now just expanded that. I don't market to agents. We cut them out. So I'm not wasting my time.
That makes sense. I get that.
Right? But they send out automated messages for you. So there's a total of 3 messages that goes out. And then after that, you have to take over the process. So
by the way, let me just really quick right there. Let me just jump in and say, for those of you that would like to know what company that is, all you've got to do is go to clubwealth.com/LinkedIn, clubwealth.com/LinkedIn, and you can get Lindsay's download that she's prepared. It's got their company's information that she uses and all that. And so just go there. You can get the download that's got all the info, as well as the information on the company that Lindsay's using to help her crush it. So Coach Lindsay, keep going.
Yeah. And on that download, it'll also give you what my value proposition was when I started versus now, because it has changed pretty drastically. I was very aggressive in the very beginning as far as wanting to meet with people. And a lot of people will use a value proposition of, a free home warranty, or they'll give money back at closing, which I tried. I did try that value proposition, but what I found was these connections didn't really care about that. and I wasn't getting the responses that I was hoping for. Now, LinkedIn is great for two things, and I get really excited about this because it's the only source that can, one, give you leads for buyers and sellers, but it also helps you grow your network and your SOI. So when I first started, I would go meet with anyone that would talk to me. I didn't care who you were. I didn't care what industry, unless you were an agent. And those do kind of, I have had a few, just because if it doesn't say they're an agent on their LinkedIn account, it's going to sneak in. But I would go meet with anyone. And the reason why people wanted to meet with me was because of my value proposition. So about a year or just before I started with LinkedIn, I partnered with Sell a Home, Save a Child. And
which, by the way, our good friend Nick Shivers is the one that runs that charity. Great charity. We support wholeheartedly. Love those guys.
Yeah. Yep.
But you're using that as part of your value proposition.
It is. Yep. I don't offer discounts. I don't offer a home warranty or any of those sorts. It's strictly about Sell a Home, Save a Child. And, I do talk about my goals. And my goal, my first goal has changed dramatically, which I'll get into why later on, because I think it's really important. But people want to hear about the Sell a Home, Save a Child. And the messages that I get back are huge. So yes, so you do get the buyer seller, which is great. Obviously you want those, right? And I get a lot of messages that say, you know what, I'm not looking now, but I might be looking to buy or sell in the next couple of years. Great. I'm adding people to my pipeline, so I throw those people in my CRM and I just nurture them. But I think what's even more important is adding people to your network in your sphere, because as a new agent or somebody who's been in the business for maybe a couple of years and you're just not doing a bunch of business and you want to up that, the word prospecting is really scary, right? And people get really overwhelmed when they're a new or newer agent and they don't know where to start. And this does it for you, if you have the right value proposition. And so I was going on 4 to 6 coffee dates a week. I think I drank more coffee in the first few months than I my entire life. But I said I would go on any meeting. And my very first meeting was this guy who I thought just wanted to hear about Sell a Home, Save a Child. And he's actually now a really good friend of mine. And I ended up listing his $750,000 home.
Love it.
But I went into the meeting not expecting that, and I think you have to have an open mind. And, I tell my coaching clients, go on every single meeting. I don't care who it is. Just go meet with them. So now I am a little more selective on who I meet with. So I don't meet with insurance agents or life coaches, those types of things. So I am a little more selective, but it's really great to grow your sphere, because these people you can invite to your quarterly events. You can put them, on a newsletter, which I didn't do last year. And so we are doing that this year, trying to stay in touch with people. And I really didn't do much follow-up. And that's an area where I failed last year. So that's something that we're changing this year, and
big deal.
It is, because I know of at least three people that I potentially lost just because of my follow-up. And I was not prepared at what this company was going to do to my LinkedIn account. And I got very overwhelmed. And if you're not prepared for that and you don't have your follow-up process, then you will end up losing people. And that's what happens is, I've talked to so many people who have used it and they're using this company or a similar one. And so many connections are being added that they get overwhelmed and then they just don't log in and use it, And so you have to be prepared for that.
You do. And I'll tell you what, that includes having really good systems and processes on the back end. And let's call it what it is. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but the fortune really is in the follow-up.
It is.
And so, and by the way, really quick, there's a couple of comments. And by the way, for those of you watching, if you want to ask questions of Lindsay, of Coach Lindsay, sorry, I got to make sure I give credit where credit's due. Coach Lindsay, if you guys have questions for her, type them into wherever you're watching this, and we will do the best we can to get to all of them. I see some questions in there already. I'm going to start with a question from Dave Woodson. Shout out to Dave Woodson, Club Wealth member there. We love you, Dave. Dave wants to know, is there a Trello card for this already, or are you making one, Coach Lindsay?
No, and I can. Yes.
And we would love that. And so if we can get you to get together with Coach Ron, and maybe the two of you can come up with a really awesome Trello card on this. I think there is a LinkedIn Trello card, but dude, I'm convinced that you can really take it to the next level. So, and Mike Bjorkman jumps on. This is so good. Yes, I agree, Mike. So Coach Darcy Hardy is on watching us. And by the way, shout out to Mel Parsons, Tristan Ahmada, John Dean. Good to see you guys. So Coach Darcy wants to know, what is your follow-up process? So let's start with this. So we've got this company, which again, if people want to know what company it is, jump into clubwealth.com/LinkedIn. We have the links to the company that Lindsay is using, that Coach Lindsay is using for her LinkedIn account. This is the company that helped her add over 8,000 connections in a very short period of time. That being said, once the lead comes in, so they go out, they create these conversations, they get the conversation started, then you take it over. How do you follow up with that from there? What are you doing?
So now what I'm doing, and I did do this last year as well, but if I had a conversation with them and they were looking to purchase or just purchase or sell or just meet, I then added them to my CRM. But I was using LinkedIn basically as my CRM just because they were adding connections at such a high rate that I didn't want to, I didn't want to add every single person to my CRM. So now I go in and I just, I check it and I create tasks for myself. But that is something that I did fail at last year, to be completely honest. And that's why I lost three potential people or more. That's just three that I know of. And the cool thing now, and this it hasn't been completely set up yet, but Ylobo is now marketing to the LinkedIn connections. So we're now integrating that, which is amazing. So that will help a lot with me not having to input everybody into my CRM. But one thing that we're going to start doing is a letter. And it's going to be, every other month, it's going to be a little bit about my family, a market update, and then we're going to highlight a child that we sponsor. So my team sponsors 10 kids a year. And we did this over this last year, which I'll get into in a second about what we did and how we did it. But so we'll highlight one of the kids that we sponsor in one of the areas. So that's one thing that we're implementing this year as far as the follow-up and just trying to stay in front of people.
Okay, that's really cool. So basically, so if I understand this, Chicago, so you guys are partnered up with Sell a Home, Save a Child.
Yep.
Use that to connect with people on LinkedIn. So that, basically, what kind of give us a gist of what the message says, the initial message that goes, what's the gist?
So the very initial message that goes out is, hey, I'm Lindsay. I saw that we had a bunch of local connections. Hope to connect with you or something like that. Just very basic. And then the second, once we get connected, because LinkedIn likes you to have a message on there when you're trying to connect with people. And so once I'm connected, then automatically my value proposition goes out. And, I talk about me and how I'm a local agent, and Sell a Home, Save a Child and whatnot. And then I asked them if they'd like to go to coffee. Said I have my actual scripts in the download just to show the difference, because I was very aggressive in the very beginning, which I may go back to, we'll see. But, and in between these two, we did change it up a lot, just the verbiage and whatnot, because I now say me or somebody from my team, because people want to meet with you. You're the face of your LinkedIn. And so I still struggle with that, just because they want to meet with me. It's my account. And so I always try to go on them. My mom and I work together, so there's a lot that will go on together because, and if I'm going to partner, or for example, we had a buyer, and so that wanted to meet, and I brought one of my agents with me that I was going to have working with them. So it was just an easy handoff. So I started doing that, and that helps a lot.
Okay, so the message goes out,
Yeah.
they respond, you then immediately go right to, hey, let's meet and talk about this?
Yeah. Yes. And then if they don't respond, a third message goes out that says, hey, if you're interested in talking about real estate, let me know. And so that's the last one that goes out.
All right. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
And then at that point you have to take over.
Okay, and then simultaneous to all of this going on, you then plug them into, you're using Ylopo as yours, but you plug them into a retargeting program that retargets them on Facebook. Are you also doing Google and Google and Bing retargeting as well?
No, I'm not. Okay. And the Ylopo thing is brand new, so we haven't even started that yet.
Okay,
we
so
just got everything set up yesterday. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But bottom line is, it's a very smart move to go ahead and retarget those, which again should really help you grow that audience fairly quickly. And then, are you also adding them to your email list and to your targeted campaign in Facebook? So, or creating a targeted audience in Facebook to market to as well?
So I'm guessing that Ylopo is going to be doing all of that. So, they do all the remarketing. I'm not doing that. They will be put on an email list through Firepoint because that's what I use. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, but I want to get the message out to everybody that whether you're paying for a service for this or not, you don't have to pay for Ylopo, for example. You can easily retarget people, and you can easily create, if you take that list from LinkedIn, you can easily download that into a CSV file, upload that into Facebook as a custom audience, and market specifically to that custom audience. And because you know that the thing that got their interest, their curiosity was in Lindsay's case, in Coach Lindsay's case, was sell a home, save a child. What I would focus on for that remarketing or that targeted audience on Facebook, I would do posts to that audience that had something to do with sell a home, save a child. For example, what Lindsay's doing when she's messaging back and saying, hey, we're highlighting this child this month that we helped. And here's their story. Here's a picture of them, blah, 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 blah. Guys, super freaking powerful stuff. Because again, what she's not doing is she's not saying, hey, I'm a real estate agent, come work with me. What she's saying is, hey, here's all this great stuff out there that we're a part of, and let me tell their story. And when I tell their story as opposed to my story, people engage, people get excited, and you end up doing a ton of business. Is that accurate?
It is. And, I think that one thing to add to that is the messages that I get back from people that aren't necessarily looking to buy or sell, but they'll say, I absolutely love what you're doing. I love that you dedicated your business to this. If I know of anybody, I will send them your way. You're not going to get those type of messages if you're just offering a discount. And I didn't, I didn't see anything when we offered the discount. I thought, let's just try it. And the other thing that, we were involved with a nonprofit locally, and it's interesting because even our family and friends weren't excited about it for some reason, which I think I know why. I think that, and this is kind of going off subject, but it's, people here, there's so many resources here for people. And, in these third world countries, there's just not. And that was one question that I had asked Nick Shivers before I signed up for Sell a Home, Save a Child. Now, it took me a year to find something that I wanted to dedicate my business to. This was not something I somebody told me about it and I jumped on it. It was not like that. And I wouldn't recommend that anyone does that. Find something that you're passionate about, that you believe in, because people can see right through that, and it has to be authentic. But so, locally, people just didn't really care. It wasn't, Not that they don't care, it just, they weren't excited about it.
People care about their own lives, unfortunately, more than anything else, right? And I don't know if that's unfortunate. I mean, the fact of the matter is people care about what's in it for me, right? But what's really neat about what you've done is, and I love the title, right? When you look at Sell a Home, Save a Child, it says Sell a Home, Save a Child, which when you're using that as the charity that you support, automatically brings real estate into the equation. So the conversation is really easy it's an easy conversation to transition into, hey, when you buy or sell with me, I donate a percentage of my commission to this charity, and it's a win-win. And by the way, here's the person, here's the kid that we helped this month, and here's the kid that we helped last month, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And it's a big deal. By the way, really quick, we've got some more questions. I'm going to get to all your questions as we go here. Leah Guerrero, you've got a question. I'm going to get to yours in just a second. Before I do, if everybody could type in here right now, into your screen right now, wherever you're watching this on Facebook, do me a favor and just type in right now. I want to know, are you using a charitable component in your real estate business, anywhere in your real estate business? Are you utilizing any kind of a charitable component in your real estate business? And if so, let us know which one. But just type that in. So type in, yes, I am using a charity, and here's the one, or no, I'm not using a charity in my business currently. I want to get a feel for what people are doing. So if you guys could all just type that into your screen right now, into your Facebook feed right now. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get to Leah Guerrero's question. She says, hi, Coach Lindsay. Now that you don't meet with insurance agents or life coaches, and she does meet with life coaches because, it's football for both real estate and life coaches at some level. And mortgage brokers, I assume, do you still accept the connection, but just tell them you don't have time to meet?
So great question. I actually respond and I say, thank you, that sounds great, whatever it is. Are you looking to buy or sell in the near future? So if they are, then I will absolutely go. But there are some other industries, like I get a lot of marketing companies too. So they're another one that I don't typically meet with, but I just ask that question.
So here's what I love about this, because when you're doing this, it allows you to, in a very nice way, hold a very hard line, right? And you can say in a very nice way to somebody, hey, Lindsay, I really appreciate this. I am so devoted to this charity that I'm a part of right now that I'm only spending my time with people with whom I know that I can partner in some way to help out the charity. For most people, that means I'm helping them buy or sell a house. I'm taking a portion of the commission. I'm committing it to this charity. For some people, they might just simply make a charitable donation to the charity, and that's fine too. But my commitment right now is that I need to spend the majority of my time focused on those people that are going to help move the charity forward. And by the way, for those of you that don't know, let me just throw this out there. Sell a Home, Save a Child. One of the reasons I'm very passionate about it, what they do is down in Nicaragua, for example, and they work with kids in various parts of the country. We'll use Nicaragua as an example because I've been down there with Nick, and that was an experience. Holy cow. Yeah, that's a whole nother webinar. But I'll say that what they do is they take these in Nicaragua. There's a dump down there. The city dump has, and I can't remember if it's 12 or 20,000 or it's some crazy number of people that live at this dump. And they're eating people's garbage. Literally, they're living on people's garbage. It is the most disgusting, inhumane, sad, just disparaging thing. It's just terrible. It's terrible. What's even worse is they take the young women in this dump, and at 10 years old, they are sold into sexual slavery and human trafficking of all kinds, but primarily of a sexual nature. And it is horrifying. And Nick figured this out years ago and went down there. And Nick said, I'm not going to just talk about it. I'm not going to find somebody to contribute. I'm going to do something about it. And so he created this charity now that pulls these girls out of that situation, puts them into a boarding school. Now, boarding school sounds all fancy and uniforms and blah, blah, blah. Look, it's a pretty rough building. It's a cinder block building. I don't even know if it has doors, to be honest with you, but it has a roof. And so they get food and shelter, the place that they can live and get an education. And they've got girls that have graduated out of this program that now have careers, that are doing very, very well, that are now paying it forward by now helping others through the same charity. Look, it's amazing. It's a phenomenal, great cause. And to be able to use that in conjunction with your LinkedIn to drive more business to your real estate business, Brilliant, Lindsay.
Mhm.
Coach Lindsay, you have freaking nailed it. And to make that connection and make those two come together is really, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, I'm seeing that several people have put in fact, Anthony Scrubs says he's on the Lux home team and he's using home save a child. Right on. There you go. I love it. That's awesome. So,
well, and that's the cool part, because about, with the team is everybody supports it, and we use it as, as motivation. And, when we have to, this last year, when we had to go in and pick a child, sometimes we would let our clients pick it. Sometimes they would let us, or they wanted us to. Both my kids picked a child. And it's funny because my son will say, well, do I get to keep him? Like, no, you don't. But, and they don't quite understand, but we, I try to keep them involved. But it's, it's, we get letters and video and pictures from them. I mean, they draw us pictures. And when we first joined, we were just members. So anyone, you can join and just be a member and pay a monthly fee. And that's what we did. And then we had this really big goal of donating $25,000 back to them. And we had every intentions of doing that, but we ended up switching it up because, one, I didn't have the right team in place at the time to meet that goal. And learning more about it, we changed it up. And so we ended up sponsoring kids. Instead of doing the monthly membership, we now sponsor kids, which is, to sponsor a child for a year is $456. Most kids need 3 sponsors to do a full sponsorship. I think it just depends on where they are, because all these kids are Nicaragua, Cuba, Haiti, Mexico, Uganda, and Kenya are the areas. I think I got them all. And so I think we sponsor a kid in every single area right now. We have 4 in Mexico. And it was actually really cool because one of our clients, I let him pick, I asked him, do you want to pick? It was actually the first meeting that I had, where I listed his house, and he picked this little girl from Mexico. Well, we already happened to sponsor her twin brother. And she was the last one out of 4 kids that had not been sponsored.
Oh my gosh.
And it was completely random. And so, but it's extremely hard to go in and pick a child to sponsor because you want to sponsor them all, and I can't tell you how many times the team's just been in tears when we have to go and look at these, and you learn about these kids and how they're living. And it makes you very, grateful for how we live here. So that's the one thing I love.
And I'm getting some comments, some feedback from folks. And by the way, first of all, I completely agree. It really brings out the humanity in us, right? It really helps us understand how good we really have it. It's you think about, in America, there's and no disrespect to anyone who's living in poverty in America, please don't misunderstand, but poverty in America means we only have one TV, right? Whereas poverty in a place like Nicaragua means not only is it possible I might not eat today, I might get sold into human trafficking today. Mm-hmm. And I may need to do things that just to be able to get a meal today that are unthinkable, unspeakable. And so that being said, I wanted to bring it back to LinkedIn because I'm getting some feedback from some of our audience members. They want to hear more about the LinkedIn connection here, how we're monetizing LinkedIn. And so I'm going to keep this short. We're going to share this last part because I think we've really kind of covered it for the most part. But essentially what you've done, the formula that you have implemented is, one, you picked a really worthy charity. You picked something that you felt passionate about that you could share that would get people to engage from LinkedIn, right? Because it's not enough to just go onto LinkedIn and say, check me out, I'm a real estate agent, come do business with me. Mm-hmm. And so you picked a great charity like Coach Susan Crawford, for example. And by the way, we love you, Coach Susan. I'm glad you're watching. And we forgive you for being a Broncos fan. In fact, we feel sorry for you. In fact, the Broncos are, I'm surprised, not your charity. Although they're probably a worthy charity at this point as well. So she's using Icing Smiles as an example. Mm-hmm. But essentially what you do is you are selecting the charity. Then you put the message out there, and the message is, hey, I've got this really cool, we've got all these connections. I've got this really cool charity that I support. Would love to tell you a little bit more about it, kind of thing. Is that essentially it?
It is. And the important part is to kind of pick your criteria on how you're going to sponsor this charity. So, so what we did was, for every listing, granted, we didn't have to discount our commission beyond a certain percentage, we could sponsor a child. And we did that because, you have to lead with revenue, right? So it was, this gave us the option to do that. And we got to our goal, which was 10 kids. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And by the way, what's your 2020 goal? Where are you going to be for 2020?
So we're actually going to leave it at 10 kids, but we want to donate on top of that an additional $5,000, because I don't ever want to be in a position to where I can't sponsor these kids.
Yep.
So, and it does become hard to keep in touch with these kids. So, because you do get, it's just, we're busy, right? So, to respond to them, and the 10 is enough for us.
Yeah, totally get it. Totally get it. Okay. So once you've connected with them, so the typical response is what? So you send out your message, the response that comes back sounds like what?
So typically, I probably see 3 different responses. Nope, I'm not interested. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is, I love what you're doing. If I know of anybody, I will send them your way. Those are the people that I'm going to nurture. Yep. Those are going to be the referrals, and then 3, yes, I'm interested. And then I respond and just say, great, what's your schedule look like over the next couple of weeks? And we get something scheduled.
You go right to appointment. You don't mess around. I love it. Love it. Yeah. And you're also not asking a lot of questions. You guys, this is a huge lesson. I want people to listen to this. You're not overqualifying the appointment. You're simply saying, hey, you're interested. Great. Let's meet. We'll figure it out when we get face to face. It's too often people overqualify appointments. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of bad advice in the real estate industry out there right now, where people are saying, oh no, you got to make sure they're an 8, 9, or a 10 on the motivation scale. And you got to make sure they're probably going to do business with you before you go out there, or don't waste your time. You guys, that's horrible advice. Do what Coach Lindsay's doing. If somebody's got a pulse and they want to meet with you about buying or selling a home, freaking meet with them, right? You're going to sell a lot better face to face than you ever will voice to voice, and definitely better than you will over text or messaging of any kind. Mm-hmm. And so this is great. And Sean O'Toole makes a very great point. It's like automated digital door knocking, right? Great.
Well, it is. And that's another thing is, I don't really want to go to networking events, to be honest. I don't. They're at night. I have 2 kids. I don't, and this is so much better than going to those. And, I feel like the networking events, which, I mean, there are some good ones, and I don't want to say that there's not, but most of those people are just out there looking for business. And I feel like it's a waste of time for a lot of them, not all of them, and this is just so much more efficient because you're getting that one-on-one, but you have to be able to get in front of them.
Yep. I love it. Okay. So by the way, before I forget, for those of you who haven't already seen it yet, we've got the link posted. Go to clubwealth.com/LinkedIn, clubwealth.com/LinkedIn to get Coach Lindsay's download on exactly the steps to follow, the companies that she's using to help her crush it on LinkedIn. All of that's on the download, clubwealth.com/LinkedIn. Go there right now. All right. So Lindsay, let's wrap this up. I want to make sure that we leave people feeling like they got a ton of value in a short amount of time. So tell us, if there's one thing, or maybe 1 or 2 things that you could leave us with that you would say, you got to know this about LinkedIn if you're going to succeed with it, what would they be?
So one thing is with LinkedIn, unless you upgrade your account to the Sales Navigator, you're limited to, I think, 20 messages a day. So, and I think a lot of times you have to have their email. So with the company that I use, you get to bypass all of that. You still have to upgrade your account, but you don't have to have email to log in. Sometimes they will try and restrict it. This company goes in and fixes it, and you move forward. So there's a lot of benefits. I mean, yeah, you could do it yourself if you upgrade, but who wants to sit and just press connect? You just don't want to. So it's a great resource if you use it properly. And, but you have to find, it really takes the right value proposition and following up every day. I check my LinkedIn account Monday through Friday in the mornings, once a day. That's it. Because I found that if I go in and if I'm just randomly looking, I'll lose that message. Mm-hmm. and then I won't go back to it. So I check it in the mornings. I typically don't check it on the weekends. The nice thing about LinkedIn though, is it is a much slower response from people. So people aren't expecting you to be right there and responding. So you can respond the next day and nobody's going to care. You know, and people have actually said that to me before from LinkedIn.
They're like, hey, don't worry about it. Get back to me tomorrow, just whenever you get a chance. You know, that's a big deal. And it's certainly different than most of the other leads. I mean, we talk about speed to lead, and it's a very important factor. In most other lead sources, if you're gonna get that business, you're gonna have to respond in the first 30 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
And so speed lead becomes very, very important. I agree with you that it's not nearly as important with those LinkedIn leads. It's still a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I think it's still valuable. But at the end of the day, it's not as critical. So
it's not. And yeah, there hasn't been an issue with that, but I do make sure that I check it once a day, Monday through Friday.
And by the way, I think a big part of the reason why it's not as critical for you is not just the fact that it's LinkedIn, but it's because of the messaging that you're putting out, and because of the fact that by the time they've responded back, they feel so strongly about your value proposition being sell a home, save a child, that they are willing to wait, because the reason they're connecting with you has less to do with LinkedIn, has less to do with the fact that you're a real estate agent, and more to do with the fact that, hey, look, they support your charity. They believe in your cause. And when they believe in your cause, that's more powerful than, hey, I'll give you a discount on my commission.
Right. Yeah. And even, and the other thing, you know, that I talk about is going on a trip. We were actually supposed to go to Nicaragua last year in August, and the trip got canceled because of security concerns. And so I do put that in there so that people know this isn't just something that I'm doing for, because I don't ever want somebody to think that I'm doing it just for business, because I'm not, you know. So, and that's why it's important to find something that you're passionate about. Now, don't just go pick something and do your research. You know, there's a lot of nonprofits and charities out there that aren't necessarily good ones, where I think the last time I looked, 85 cents of every dollar from Sell a Home, Save a Child was going back to the actual cause.
Yeah, you're right about that. It's interesting you mentioned that, because there are charities, and I don't want to mention any United Way, that 40% is going to the people that need, and the rest is going to administration and overhead. And that's a struggle for me. I can't support a charity like that. It's interested in that. All right, so good stuff. So Coach Lindsay, any final thoughts on LinkedIn, other than again, reminding people that, you know, go to theclubwealth.com/LinkedIn to get Lindsay's download, Coach Lindsay's download, but other thoughts you want to end on there, Coach Lindsay?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Okay, and I'm going to go back. Let me look at the other feed really quick here, just to make sure that we don't have any other questions or comments in there that we haven't gotten to. In question, Coach Paul Perone asks, how much is the LinkedIn upgrade? Do you know about how much?
It's $80 a month.
$80 a month. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. Casey O'Toole is saying, hey, I've got it, and it's worth it, especially if you're working in conjunction with the company that Lindsay uses. And I would completely agree with that. Okay, so that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining. My name is Michael Helix, and I'm also one of the coaches here at Club Wealth. If you have not done so already, if you are a real estate agent and you're considering growing your business, you'd like to figure out how people like Lindsay, and by the way, Lindsay, tell us your story really quick. You have crushed it since you've joined Club Wealth. Tell us where you were before Club Wealth, and what Club Wealth, what impact Club Wealth has had on your life, and where you are today.
So 2 years ago, February 1st, it'll be 2 years actually that I've been with Club Wealth. And I was a single agent, 2 very young kids at home. I knew I wanted to do more. I think I started my in 2017, I think I did like 15 transactions, 14 maybe. And which was great for me with 2 little kids. I mean, mind you, now I have a 4.5 and a 7-year-old. So they were still home, right? So I knew I wanted to do more. And I had talked to my husband about wanting to join, to get a coach. And I interviewed some companies, and he thought I was crazy. He's like, you really want to do this? And I did. And now I have a team of 5 agents, a part-time admin right now. We're working her into full-time. And we've doubled our production. So, you know, last year I could have done more, but I had not the right team. I'll say that, you know, and I let it go on for too long, and I've had this huge mindset change, and it's been amazing. So
I love it. Well, and I love another piece of this that I think is very important to you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's what I've got on the wall back there, which says, no success in the world can compensate for failure in the home. Absolutely. And what I love about you, Coach Lindsay, is that you don't just eat, breathe, sleep, real estate. You've got a family. You understand the importance of family. You take care of your family. You make decisions based on that say, hey, look, if I'm about to do something and it's in conflict with that core value, then I just won't do it. And guess what? You're able to have great success regardless, even though you're still spending a lot of time with your family, which is huge. And so for those of you that haven't done so already, once a year, we offer an opportunity for each agent. So every agent out there who's, even if you're not a member of Club Wealth, you are welcome. One time per year, we will allow you to do what's called a strategy session with one of our coaches, like Coach Lindsay. So if you'd like to get on a phone call with Coach Lindsay or one of our other coaches who will literally spend a full 55 minutes with you on a call and walk through kind of what you're doing now, what's working for you, what's not working for you, look at where the holes are in your business and truly help you figure out, how do I plug those holes? And then based on your goals and where you'd like to go, literally set up a game plan for you whereby you can accomplish those goals and give you a roadmap at the end of that call that, hey, this is what you need to do in the next 12 months to get to where you want to go in the way that you want to get there. All you got to do is go to clubwealth.com/strategy session. Again, that's clubwealth.com/strategy session. If you will go there right now, you can request a strategy session. You're welcome to do this one time per year. There's no sales pitch. If you want to find out about coaching, you actually have to ask our coach to tell you about coaching because we don't believe in pressure. But so if you say, hey, look, would you tell me about what it's like to coach with you? Then of course they'd be happy to tell you. But know this, they're never going to pressure you. They're never going to make you feel like it was a big sales pitch. Truly, they're going to bring value to you on that call. So jump on clubwealth.com/strategy session. Coach Lindsay, cannot thank you enough for spending time with us here today. You guys, if you're not already crushing it on LinkedIn, go to clubwealth.com/LinkedIn right now. Get Coach Lindsay's download. It's free. There's no cost or obligation on your part. All you have to do is go to the website, download the checklist, follow the checklist, and away you go. Coach Lindsay, any final thoughts?
Nope, I don't think so.
Right on. Well, thank you very, very much for taking this, and we'll look forward to seeing that Trello card when you get her done. So, all right, everybody.
I'll work on it.
Remember, inside each one of you, there's a world-class beast just dying to get out. You got to choose to unleash that beast. So do something at a world-class level today. Take care, everybody.
Have a good day.